welcome to the Blichmann Engineering Top-Tier Assembly video. In this video, I will show you how to construct your top-tier modular brewing stand, assemble your top-tier burner, and place the burner on your stand. We will also cover installation of the fuel manifold for systems using more than one top-tier burner. Before we get started, let's go over the parts you've received with your top-tier modular brewing stand. You will have one 6-foot aluminum mast, 4 black legs, 6 stainless steel arms, 3 left hand and 3 right hand, 1 gas regulator. Included in bag 1 of your kit are 2 wheels, 2 wheel brackets, 2 axle bolts, 2 3/8" nuts and lock washers, and 4 5/16 by 1/2 inch long bolts and nuts. Bag 2 includes 14 T-slot plates. Bag 3 includes 42 5/16 by 1/2 inch long bolts and washers, 2 P-clips, 2 5/16 by 1 3/4 inch bolts with 2 hex nuts, 3 washers, and 1 square nut, factory installed, 4 leveling feet, 1/2 inch NPT pipe plug, and 1 3/8 flare by 1/2 inch NPT brass adapter. You will also need the following tools to assemble the stand: a 7/16, 1/2, and 9/16 wrenches, 10mm and 17mm wrenches, an adjustable wrench, and a torque wrench. You may also use a socket wrench with the previously mentioned sizes to speed up assembly. To begin assembly, find a flat, level hard surface to work on. The first step is to attach 2 T-slot plates onto each leg using the 5/16 by 1/2 inch long bolts with washers. Always make sure that the washer is placed between the head of the bolt and the leg. Failure to use the washer will cause the bolt to penetrate too deeply into the T-slot and possibly damage your top-tier stand. Here's a helpful tip: only thread the bolt onto the T-slot 1 turn. This will make installation onto the aluminum mast much easier. Next, thread a leveling foot onto each leg. After you have assembled all 4 black legs, it's time to attach them to the aluminum mast. Begin by sliding the T-slots into the mating slot on the aluminum mast. Make sure to install each leg 1.5 inches above the bottom of the mast. Once the leg is in place, use your torque wrench to tighten the nut to 20 foot-pounds. Repeat this step with the remaining 3 legs, making sure you don't tighten the nuts past the 20 foot-pounds. You might be asking yourself, do I really need a torque wrench for this? And the answer is yes. Remember, you are working with a large amount of hot liquid, so we highly recommend that you don't rely on just hand tightening. Once you've installed all 4 black legs, it's time to install the wheels. These parts can be found in bag number 1. Begin by threading the axle bolt through the wheel. Attach this to the bracket and place a lock washer and 3/8 inch nut onto the end and tighten just enough so that the wheel can move freely. Next, use 2 5/16 by 1/2 inch long bolts and nuts to attach the wheel bracket to the leg stand. Repeat this process for the remaining leg. Now it's time to stand your top-tier brewing system up. Once you have the unit upright, you can adjust the leveling feet so the aluminum mast rests firmly on the ground. Use a carpenter's level on all sides of the mast to aid in centering. Make sure that the top-tier modular brewing system does not rock. Congratulations! Your top-tier modular brewing stand is complete. Now it's time to build and attach a top-tier burner to the stand. Each top-tier burner is shipped with 1 burner, 2 burner tension brackets, 1 left hand and 1 right hand, 1 brass needle valve, 1 stainless gas flex hose, one P-clip assembly with bolts, nuts, and washers, one 1/2-inch NPT pipe tee, one 3/8 flare by 1/2-inch NPT brass adapter, 4 stainless retaining bars with 8 6mm bolts and nuts, 7 1/4 by 1/2-inch bolts, nuts, and washers, 1 stainless air damper, 1 air damper screw, 1 spring, and 1 brass gas orifice fitting. When attaching items to the burner, it is recommended to finger tighten all fasteners at first. You can finish tightening them once you have the burner tier fully assembled. Let's begin by installing the torsion brackets to one of the legs on the burner. It is important to plan out the position of the tiers before assembly, and make sure to install the torsion brackets on the leg that will face the mast. It is also helpful to have the burner inlet, or venturi, facing the side of the operator. Begin by flipping the burner upside down and attaching the torsion brackets using 3 of the 1/4 by 1/2-inch long bolts, washers, and nuts. Remember, the washers go between the head of the bolt and the torsion bracket. Next, remove the 2 legs where the arms will go by removing the bolts that fasten the legs to the burner. After the legs have been removed, sandwich the arms between the legs and the burner ring and use the bolts you removed from the legs to install the arms to each side of the burner. Use the remaining 1/4 by 1/2-inch long bolts, washers, and nuts to secure the arms to the torsion bracket. Now it is time to attach the T-slot plates to your burner. This is identical to the T-slot attachment in the leg assembly. Use the 5/16 by 1/2-inch long bolts and washers to secure the burner arms to the T-slot plates. Make sure to only tighten one turn in order to make installation onto the top tier stand easier. Again, it is important to always place the washer between the head of the bolt and the tier arm. Next, install the 4 pot retaining bars using the 6mm nuts and bolts provided. The size of your brew kettle will dictate where to place the retaining bars. Now you can tighten all the bolts on the burner before we install it onto the stand. However, make sure to leave the T-slot attachments loose, as this will aid in installation of the burner on the top tier stand. Don't worry about installing the fuel manifold until we place the burner on the top tier stand. Now that we have assembled our top tier burner, it is now time to install it onto the top tier stand. As with the black legs, begin by sliding the T-slots into the mating slot on the aluminum mast. It is helpful to have someone assist you with this process. Position the tier in the desired location and tighten the T-slot plate bolts slightly. Use your carpenter's level to ensure the burner is level both front to back and side to side. Next, use your torque wrench to tighten the nuts to 20 foot-pounds. If you purchase shelf tiers with your unit, they will be installed in the same fashion as the burner tiers. For installation of the burner manifold, install the orifice, spring, damper, and needle valve onto the venturi. Make sure to place the spring on the brass fitting between the damper and the fitting. Next, screw the air damper screw into the venturi, making sure to allow for fluid damper movement. Connect the stainless steel flexible metal bellows tube to the needle valve and secure to the burner with the P-clip. Since the top tier brewing stand is completely modular, the fuel manifold piping is not included with the project because we cannot determine which positions you'll locate your tiers and how many tiers will be fired. However, we have included most of the fittings you will need to complete the manifold. If you are using one burner, simply connect the regulator hose directly onto the needle valve. No manifold is necessary. If you are installing more than one burner, you will need to purchase 1/2-inch black iron pipe cut to your specifications. This will depend on the location of your burners. All included hardware is 1/2-inch NPT, which is very common and can be found at most hardware stores. For easier assembly, the manifold may be assembled before you attach it to the aluminum mast, but you will want to make sure that the P-clips are placed on the manifold first. Also, try to locate the manifold on the mast so that it faces you during operation. Depending on how you configure your stand, the hardware for mounting the P-clips may share the same T-slot as the burner T-slot plates, so be sure to install the mounting hardware in the proper sequence. Always use Teflon pipe tape or pipe dope at each joint to ensure you get a gas-tight seal. Do not use pipe tape or pipe dope on the brass flare connections, just the MPT thread connections. Use the supplied 1/2" NPT pipe tee to attach manifolds. Next, attach the 3/8 flare by 1/2" NPT brass adapter to the pipe tee. A 1/2" NPT pipe plug is provided with a stand to cap off the top of the manifold on the branch of the pipe tee that isn't used at the top of the fuel manifold. To secure the fuel manifold to the mast, slide the square nut onto the mating slot on the aluminum mast. Once the manifold is in place, tighten the closest nut, securing it to the mast. Now use your brass adapter to connect the regulator to the manifold. Before you use your TopTier brewing stand, please make sure to check that all bolts, screws, and pipes are properly tightened prior to use. Congratulations! You are now ready to use your Blichmann TopTier modular brewing stand. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us, and be sure to check out www.blichmannengineering.com for more of our great products. Now get out there and brew.